handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Time for the In the Queue podcast with DJ Greggie C, Greg Curran, and David Hanscom. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube Live. Just search for In the Queue podcast or go to inthequepodcast.com. Please like our show and share this broadcast to show your support and pass on the good karma to help educate everyone how to be the best entertainer they can be. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and get notified when we go live, which is every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And now, let's hear it for DJ Greggie C and David Hanscom.
What up, what up, what up? And actually, it is only me tonight. Well, maybe in a little while, Greg will be here, but I have got a text message at the last minute from Greg saying that he had an emergency come up at home, so hopefully he will be able to take care of that and be able to join us in just a little bit. So this is going to be interesting because I'm going to be playing producer and host and comment watcher and all things everything. So we'll see how that goes. Thank you guys for joining us. Hope you're having a good, happy holiday. This is In the Queue podcast, typically with myself and Greggie C, Greg Curran. Again, unfortunately, he had a last-minute emergency that he wasn't able to jump on right away with us. So I'm going to just kick off the show myself. So if you see me looking around all over the place, it's because normally I would have the ability to do these duties when Greg is talking, but I am doing the all of everything tonight by myself, and I'm okay with that. But I'm just giving you a heads up. If you see me looking around, I'm not like all over the place. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm taking care of all the responsibilities I have. So that being said, it's been a little while since we've been on. We took a little time off. Hope you guys are all doing well. I'd love for you to drop in the comments who's watching, who's with us tonight. If you have questions throughout the show, please feel free to drop those in the comments. I'll keep an eye on those for you. We love this show to be interactive, so we want to make sure there's Milk D checking in with us. Yeah, we want to make sure. What's up, bro? We want to make sure that everybody feels like they're a part of the show. So as we go through the night and as we go through the show, if you have questions for our guests, if you have questions for myself, if you have comments, anything you want to share, please be sure to do that. I'd love to know what you guys are doing for the holidays. Are you going away or are people coming to you? Put that in the comments. Let me know what's going on. Let me know what you're up to. Hey, how's it going? Thank you for joining us tonight. We're looking forward to having a good time with our guests tonight and talking a little bit about a couple things. In the green room, before we got started tonight, we were talking a little bit about a past show and a topic that we talked about on the past show. So we're going to go into that a little bit. And as advertised, we're also going to talk a little bit about personal and professional branding, something very dear and near to me. I think it's something that everybody that is a performer on any level should really be, aware of and how to effectively utilize personal and professional branding. You want to talk about somebody who knows how to do that? Milk D is definitely somebody who knows how to do that. He's been on the show with us before, and we've talked about that with him. And if you just take 2 seconds to look him up on social media, you will see all the amazing things that he's doing out there. So he definitely understands the importance of doing that. Let's see, a couple of show notes here. Let me just look at this. Okay, I said that. Okay, so we're good. So that's that. Look at this. Milk D showing some love to our guests right away. I love this. Very good. No doubt, man. Absolutely, man. Love you to death, brother. Love you very, very much. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to just share a little bit. If you guys have watched our show normally, Greg likes to read the entire bios of our guests normally, and I'm just the opposite. I like to share some highlights and then let them talk about themselves a little bit. I mean, who better knows themselves than, well, themselves? When does the show start? Starts right now. So hopefully you're on. You might be a little bit behind. Sometimes the internet is a little bit slower than the live version of the show. So Ron and Didi, they call themselves the self-proclaimed super fans, which I love that. I want to hear a little bit more about that from them. But Ron is a former house DJ and KJ. And for those of you who don't know what KJ is, it's karaoke jock. If you didn't know that, now you do. And he still provides services for private events and fundraisers. And Didi is a classically trained musician and vocalist and currently enjoys singing karaoke anywhere and everywhere. And I'm sure that any night on the town with these two is probably a classic night that will go down in infamy, where you will absolutely feel like you're with celebrities. I have no doubt in my mind you will feel that way based on some of the stories that they've had from past expos they've been a part of and attending and meeting some of the folks they met. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. We're also going to talk a little bit about their marketing and branding company. Okay, so that's called GoMezmerize. I love that name, and I want to hear more about that too as well. So I'm going to bring our guest on to join us right now. And virtually out there in the applause world, please help me welcome Didi and Ron. Hey, guys, how are you?
Hi, David. How you doing?
Doing well. I have to admit, this is a little bit nerve-wracking for me to do all of the things that I'm doing when I don't have Greg to sometimes lean on and say, hey, in the back channel chat, I'm like, hey, man, I need you to take over and talk for a minute. I'm not going to be able to do that tonight, so this is going to be fun.
Well, I'll just pick on you instead of him tonight. How's that?
That's fair. I'll take all the Greg abuse that you were going to give. How about that?
You know it, Dave.
Very good. Well, thank you. Seriously, thank you both for joining me and hopefully us if Greg makes it on with us tonight. Thank you for being on the show. I know you all have been loyal and faithful listeners and participators since basically show one, if I'm not mistaken. So
yes,
we appreciate that.
Yeah, pretty much. Thank you for having us on, Dave. And I do miss the idea that DJ Greggie is not going to read all of the bio that I work so hard to develop and write up for you guys. But it is actually it's in the whole screen for the show. So
yeah, absolutely. It's definitely in the description of the show. And if you guys, again, forgive me for not doing it, and I don't want to do y'all any injustice. So definitely, I agree. Please be sure to read the show notes and learn all about the amazing things that they're doing. And we're going to talk about a lot of those things tonight. So right off the bat, tell me about this super fans thing. I want to see why do you call yourselves the super fans?
Well, I guess I'll start that one. Didi started. She went to the DJ Expo first, and me, it's been a long time away from the music, away from some things I did in the '80s. Late '80s, I actually roadied for George Clinton and the P-Funk, had dreads down in my rear, and stuff. And then a few weeks after I got off roadieing with them, that's when I first met, Public Enemy and Biz when they were promoting their album before it dropped. Biz's Just Friends album and, Public Enemy's first album, At the Police. It's like, and they just made me feel welcome. And I got to know a few of them, stayed in touch for a little while and everything. And then went to a expo. I think it was 2017, babe?
Yeah, 2017.
She went the year before, went to an expo, and there's Keith spinning at the Peavey booth. I walked up next to him to say hi, man. It'd been so many years. He looked at me and said, just instantly, my name, gave me a hug. We ain't seen each other for God knows how many years. You know what I mean? But he recognized me and he knew me, and just it was just a great feeling, And
and I think that's one of the really cool things about the hip hop community. I know that's a community that I'm near and dear and close to my heart. Been friends with the folks from Naughty by Nature and a couple of other artists out there for a long time, and it's just interesting. When I first got into DJing, I got into radio, and I did a lot of the more urban markets, and so naturally I gravitated towards them more often. But it was just, I'll never forget just how welcoming and friendly the community is. I think across the board, but definitely in the hip hop community, you'll see that a lot.
Oh, definitely. And it's like, when we go to the expos, it's just the way they treat us. I mean, you people walk by us thinking that we're big celebrities with everybody, we're treated like celebrities by the DJs, and that's what's really cool. And and I think that's because of our honesty, and we're just, we treat them like best friends, and they treat us that way. And I've known a few of them, different ones over the time, but whenever we get introduced to somebody, it's like, well, Greggie C, Thomas Coleman, just a wonderful man,
Cutlass.
DJ Cutlass and DJ Groove, and they pretty much everybody at the Peavey group pretty much made us honorary Peavey DJs.
Nice.
3 or 4 years ago, and we're treated that way now with respect. And a few of them have called and asked for some advice, and stuff. And during the pandemic, when the pandemic first started out, it's like we helped a few of them out. Because DJs lost their business, couldn't take care of babies. Big shout out to Keon. He had a baby at the beginning of the pandemic, and lost his way of life, You know, he's the sound production person for the Peavey group, traveling to all the expos. You know, and these people needed some help, and I was able to help. So, you know, and no questions asked. You know, just what do you need? You know, where can we help you?
Yeah, I think people love, you know, the authenticity and the genuine, just, you know, that simple question. How can I help you? You know what I mean? And for some people, that the answer to that question might be just listen. You know, just listen to what I'm going through and give me a sounding board. For other people, that could be, you know, they need a favor, or they need help moving something somewhere. It runs the gamut, you know. But I think when you're just willing to just, you know, be a heartfelt person and just say, hey, how can I be of service to you? I think that means a lot. And you can tell just by the comments that are coming in from our viewers, that's how they feel about you guys. So I love that so much.
Well, I got to put on my glasses so everybody excuse me here so I can see.
Didi, I'm going to go over to you for a minute. I want to hear a little bit about being a classically trained musician and vocalist. Do you play instruments, I'm assuming, as well?
Yes. I'm a woodwinds artist. I started playing a little recorder, you know, in second grade or something. But my brother and sister were already learning the saxophone, so I played saxophone, tenor sax. I've played flute all my life. Still have it set up behind me over here that I'll still play once in a while. And again, so I have led music ministries inside of churches. I've led cantatas. I put together the 4-part harmonies, you know, and all of that, because again, all it takes just a little bit of work, a little bit of extra time and energy, and people are ready to change, you know, and that's the key. You have to be ready to change and learn something new, always learning something new. I carry my music with me all the time. I tell my friends, you know, that I've been singing before I was talking. I was dancing before I was walking, in the way that I grew up in New York. You know, my Puerto Rican, and that's our family name is Gomez. You know, my family name, my dad passed 15, 18 years ago, a while back, and I miss him terribly. But again, it was always Latin music. We had the Puerto Rican Latin music, but I grew up in the projects of Queens, New York. So, you know, I got the urban atmosphere, absolutely. You know, I'm just a little white girl, you know, I'm just trying to make my way. I got very involved with the music programs of the public schools, and again, I stayed with it. I got myself into I was honored with a scholarship to the Brooklyn Conservatory of Music, Brooklyn College Conservatory of Music. I was only in the 6th grade. I was 11 years old, traveling on 2 green bus lines all the way up into Brooklyn for a tutorial in theory and sight singing and stuff like that, as well as a one-on-one tutorial on my flute. That was wonderful. I was accepted into the High School of Performing Arts when I had to audition and everything. So I don't know if you know the Fame movie, you know, maybe before most people's times, but I was actually in that when it was the first year of it being a combined high school. It became the Fiorello H. LaGuardia High School instead of the High School of Performing Arts anymore. But I was able to attend that, and I performed with all city concert bands. I've performed in Carnegie Hall. I've performed there twice in 2 different years. I've performed in the Avery Fisher Hall of Lincoln Center there at the there in the Columbus Circle areas of Manhattan. Again, I've just been playing all the time, and I've always had to have music in my life. Music, you know, it keeps me grounded or makes me crazy, whatever it is I need at that moment. You know, I always found it somewhere in my music. Mom gave me stuff like Barry Manilow and Bing Crosby, the Carpenters and things like that. Whereas Dad brought into my life the Sugar Hill Gang and what's the Earth, Wind and Fire, and, you know, the good R&B stuff like that. So I just definitely have a big mix. My brother went off to heavy metal, and my sister was with the rock and roll, and I was always never put myself in a box, always reaching out, grabbing something. I don't know the artist names for most music that I enjoy, but I know that I enjoy the music. You know, and then just recently, again, with the whole COVID and stuff like that, my success coach is actually my cousin, but she is a accomplished young woman herself, my Timothea. I mentioned her, and she's in our show watching right now. She helped me to ground myself and to focus and to learn about actually setting a goal, you know, having a vision and getting to it, you know, and you just lock on, you keep the good energy, it's going to get better, and you just go for it. And, you know, dream. dream big, and you're going to get there. And she's gotten there, and I'm getting there myself soon too.
So Dave, now you know where I get my energy from, a country boy from Kansas.
Yeah, I can tell.
Big city girl, you know.
I can tell that's amazing, you know, and I just listening to you talk about your story and talking about music. I totally can relate on that level, because I think anybody who is involved in music in any aspect, and I think it goes beyond that, but especially those of us involved in music, it really does invoke so many different feelings. And when you need that level of energy for one task to another, you know exactly what style of music to go to get that energy you need. And not only that, but music can take you back. I mean, how many times have we heard a song and we say, I know exactly the first time either I heard this song, or as a DJ, I remember the first time I played this song. Maybe not the exact first time, but the general time frame as a DJ when you played that song. So I think that's great.
You know, one of the neatest things I enjoyed, and one of the greatest things I will always cherish with me, was last March. You know, the lockdown in New York. Keith, you know, he had that bypass surgery a couple years ago and everything, and he hadn't been out in New York in so long. It was his birthday, happened to be our anniversary the same day. So we said, why don't you guys come on out and visit? So what did we do? We drove up there for his birthday, took him a bottle of tequila, and we went to a studio where he produced a lot of people, you know, got to see all the platinum albums hanging on the wall, you know, when he produced some of LL Cool J's and Ice Cube stuff and Belle DeVoe, and it was just spectacular time. And here's this man, he's still up there spinning the old 45 vinyls, you know,
on his Twitch TV network. On his Twitch.
Yeah, I remember when he was on the show with us, he showed us all of that setup, and he showed us a few of his 45s. That was cool.
Yeah, it just felt great being a guy like me and Didi just being super fans, you know, But
the year before that, if I may interrupt, I want to talk about the year before that. We actually went out to Chicky and Pete's up there in the Parks Casino to visit and celebrate Jeff Rush's birthday, which happens to fall like right around
a birthday
Valentine's
party
Day. We created a birthday party for him, invited a couple of his friends, a little intimate, but he was working his DJ booth thing there at the casino, but he set up a nice VIP area for us, and we had a great time with DJ Jeff Rush, and he's just a wonderful friend now. He's doing great things.
Gabriel Schwartz was there.
Gabe was there.
Ellis and his wife came over, and it was quite a bit.
Yep.
Yeah, Jeff Rush is an awesome dude. I enjoyed him being on the show, and just I love his approach to music production and just everything about that dude. Jeff is an awesome dude. Yep. See, even Milk D says Jeff is awesomeness. Yeah, absolutely.
He's got some great energy.
The night before, wasn't it? We just popped in at Thomas's little pizzeria shop he was playing at a gig. We just popped in on him.
DJ Cutlass, yes, on DJ Cutlass.
All right, Didi. So I got to ask you a couple questions real quick. Sure. Number one, are you a gamer too? I'm asking because of the headphones. They strike me as maybe like gamer headphones. Do you play any games or anything?
They are game headphones. I do not play games on these things.
Okay.
This is my workstation for my regular 9 to 5. It's also a matter of I've had bilateral stapedectomies. I've had ear surgeries on both of my ears, and that's an adult thing that I had a mess with. I wasn't grown up with bad hearing. I did develop that over time, but now I've got a little bit of adjustment, and hands free kind of thing. So I like
absolutely. So my other question, we know that you love singing karaoke everywhere, and I think that most people that sing karaoke have their go-to at least one or two songs that they always love to sing. Do you have yours?
Well, everybody likes me to sing would be The Journey Separate Ways. And what I like to sing would be Carpenter's Superstar.
Wow.
I like that
okay.
One. Yeah. But I did an award at Tropicana Planet Roll in Tropicana. This was back in 2018 or 19.
2019.
Yeah. They hadn't given away this award in like 2.5, 3 years. And they gave that to me in Planet Rose, Atlantic City, for best singer for the night. And so
wow, nice.
One of my little accolades. I've had quite a nice time of it. I sang a lot with the churches that I've been involved in. The Baptist Church, non-denominational churches, and again different music ministries. And I'll go ahead and do, just a little single songs, and I've had standing ovations in the church. And when the spirit is moving like that, oh my gosh, I'm crying, everybody's crying, and that's the way to do it. It was a gift to me.
Powerful.
The music is to gift to us artists, or whatever their art form is, it's their gift, so a lot of me doesn't want to really charge for that, although I recognize there is that necessity to monetize it. For me, it's not about that. I want to give it back to people for free, and that's where GoMezmerize instead comes into play, because I want to be a supportive person for those artists to go ahead and take care of their written work, to take care of their documents, to take care of their bios, to take care of their media kits, to go ahead and start developing that. And again, to hone in and focus in on what is your brand, what is your essence, what is your individual unique quality that nobody else can compete with you about, because it's creative. It's from you. You're the only one that has that. And that's what I like to do as far as that goes. And, when it becomes a performing artist thing, that's all cool. That's back there. I want to bring that performing artist out into their shining star where they belong. And again, it's all theirs. It's just theirs. And to create their confidence, to build up their vision and their goal and their plan, and to know who they are and what to expect from their audience, what their audience can expect from them. That's what GoMezmerize is all about for that.
I love that. We're going to come back to that for sure. Vince, I just want to address this real quick. Vince, I said show notes, but I meant more so the show description. So if you look at the show description, it'll have the information there about it on YouTube or on Facebook. You'll see that in the blurb that we posted. I want to come back to something that you said real quickly, because I find this interesting, and people say this a lot. And Ron, since she brought up GoMezmerize, I'm going to go ahead and go there first, and then we're going to come back to what we talked about earlier, if that's okay with you. All right, bud? Because I want to stay with this while it's fresh in my brain. You talk about the uniqueness that somebody has that's nobody else can match, and I think sometimes as a performer, that finding what that is can be a little bit challenging. So take, for example, as a DJ. Sometimes that can be a little bit challenging. Are there exercises, or are there things you can help people utilize to dig deeper to find what that is? Because I think a lot of times people are like, well, what can I really say that makes me different?
Yes, of course, yes. You want to first
radio. Yerp.
Yeah, there's the difference right there for DJ Milk D. Yeah, the idea being that you ask yourself first, why am I doing this? Do I want to make them happier? Do I want to give them some awareness to social events? Do I want to? What is your why, first of all? And then it's going to be, who is your audience? Go ahead and find your avatars. Who is that audience? Is it this age group, that age group? And that kind of stuff that goes into that marketing training that I have still been learning, and I'm not there yet, but I am definitely understanding that that's how you're going to go about finding your target audience, and then you create for them, and then you develop that following to where they'll tell a friend, they'll tell a friend, they'll tell a friend. The more people that know you become the more people that like you, then the more people trust you to go ahead and exchange money, becoming a value to those people. So it's a trust situation, and all of that. Again, you're kind of building future forward. You're going to your vision first. It's like, okay, I need to do this first and that first, and then it comes backwards, right? Future backwards. Yeah. But definitely, you just want to ask yourself, why are you doing this? Who is your audience? What is your service? What is the service that you're bringing to people? You're not going to get paid for anything unless you're serving that purpose. You want to bring them some joy for their birthday party. You just want to give them some recollections, maybe for a wake, for a funeral wake, stuff like that. I'm seeing that a lot in my own family. I've lost my loved ones, during the COVID and other times, but it's becoming more of they have lots of soundtracks going in their backgrounds of music, maybe something upbeat. It's not just organ music playing for the wake and the funeral times. The people that have passed, they leave to know that, wait, I want you celebrating. I want you celebrating my life. So stuff like that is, what is that purpose I'm going to serve with this music? And then, you kind of keep on going from there, but you do want to create a standardized version of yourself that you can lock onto, and again, know what you're expected to do and what they expect from you, and what you can expect in return as far as, again, monetizing and getting paid for it.
I love that. I love that. Vince said, "Are you selling those shirts?" I'm not sure which shirts he was talking about. Maybe the Europe shirts.
The Maniacs. It's Maniac shirt.
Oh, this one?
That's our dance troupe. Well,
maybe it's that one. Maybe that's the one he's looking at. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll have...
Oh yeah, they've got more. All
right. Well, there you go. Vince, if that's the shirt you're talking about, then the answer, I think, is yes.
Yeah, it's a young dance troupe out of Harrisburg that we kind of adopted, and they adopted us, and we love them. We love to promote them. They've done. They've been on stage dancing with Sheely and golden ticket winners for America's Got Talent a couple of years ago in Orlando, and they're just we promote like I said, any part of the music, dancing, music, whatever. We try to get behind and help out, wherever we can as super fans.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love that a lot. Didi, I love your talking about forward, backward. I love that. I always like to use the term, reverse engineering is a term that's very similar to what you're saying, right?
Yes.
And I think that sometimes the challenges that we face and what we want to become and who we want to become are not as great when you look at it that way. When you say, okay, where is the pinnacle of where I want to be, and then let me work some steps backwards to where I am now. Let's see what the gap is between the two, and then let's take it in chunks to get there instead of just thinking we're going to get there overnight, which I think a lot of people nowadays have learned that the overnight success syndrome really does not exist. And I mean, there's always going to be those one or two people or businesses that just hit overnight, but at the end of the day, nothing replaces hard work.
But it's also in that interim, in that timing, and maybe you don't have an actual calendar date set, but that's okay, because you go ahead and you start positioning yourself in the mirror, and you go ahead and you do that self-talk, and boost yourself up. But if you become that person in your mind, your subconscious mind will go ahead and be that cybernetic, and it will start trajectorizing, putting you on that trajectory toward that person that you're seeing in the mirror. That success story will become your present and your tomorrow sooner than not, right? So if you're not working at it at all, then it's never going to happen. But, it gets work. Yeah, get to work on it.
Definitely.
I love that. So tell me a little bit about you guys both kind of alluded to it, is some of the experiences that you've had at the DJ Expos, and from the standpoint of like personal interaction, how have you seen that benefit for yourselves professionally and maybe even personally?
I would like to say that it just, when I go to the expo, it's kind of like, my other company that I run, I could be stressed out from it. You go to the expo, you see the energy, you see the way everybody accepts us there. I like the Crowd Kings and Kid Casper, like I was mentioning at the After Hour Club. After the DJ Expo night, we all went over to, they invited us over to their show. We're walking in with, Keith Shocklee and DJ Studda and Public Enemy guys and Big Keon and a few others. And all night long, just the energy of them out there. Crowd Kings out in the crowd, just promoting it, and then just promoting us. The second we walked in the door, boom, Didi and DJ Ron in the house, man. And it just kept saying it all night. That type of energy, it just brings you up. So when you come back home, you just got all this energy. All right, let's fire it up. Let's go. Let's do something here. And it just being made to feel like that, like you're on top of the world, and that's what they do for us. And that's what hanging out, and that's why we become best friends with a lot of them.
And again, like we did discuss earlier, to the same effects, it's a matter of you're gonna get what you give. We come into every situation and every event, and definitely for DJ Expo, I look forward to it all year long. And then COVID, and then so it became a 2-year buildup of anticipation. And sure enough, this past year was fantastic. But we'll stay home if we're going to be bummed out. if we got worries and stress and problems, we'll stay home.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to go ahead and bring my low energy, my negativity into any situation where people need to be up and they need to go. And then sure enough, you know, we check our problems at the door on our way out, and we just go ahead and we make the most of every moment, make the most of every interaction. The person smile as much as possible, you know, lift them up, let them know, hey, we are here for you, you're here for us, let's go, let's enjoy this moment right here, right now, let's live a little. And the idea also that, again, we just, my interactions with this more recent event of the DJ Expo was very, very much dedicated. I was like, I am going to do something with these connections that I'm making. And I went ahead and joined in on DJ Greggie C's seminar for the for his Quran entertainment school. I joined and announced it on the front door and taking pictures and stuff, but nothing. And we did have this conversation, Greg and I did, that the PowerPoint behind him was really nothing but boring. It was just boring. And me, I am a digital communication type whiz. You know, I just love doing that. It's something that, you know, through my bachelor's degree for other situations that I learned all about IT stuff, PowerPoints and Word documents and the whole, all of that animation apps, to where I'm just like, I could create such a fantastic PowerPoint presentation, click, 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 you know, and really keep people engaged, and to go ahead and have some handouts, printouts, you know, for this seminar. You know, at the end of the day, you can go ahead and bring it back home. Oh yeah, we talked about this, not and this. There was none of that. And there was really none of that at any of the seminars, really, from the DJ Expo. So to go ahead and insert that support system, which is something that GoMezmerize is, you know, gearing toward, as far as, you know, developing bios, developing the written word of, you know, blogs and PowerPoint presentations, handouts for bring back home to your team. You know, if you're running an actual company, that you can have some standardized, you know, book learning and pamphlets and things like that for promotions. So that's definitely something that is at the top of our list of services. And then it does come down into that one-on-one consulting aspect, where I've learned a lot from Timothea. Again, she's a family member, but she is my success coach, and she has just brought me into a whole new realm of understanding when it comes to becoming a success in your own right, in your own eyes, and, you know, in your own heart. And then it becomes the rest of the world will see you as a success, you know, because, that's what I want for everybody to know, that their individual star is ready to shine bright. And we just got to go ahead and clear off all the muddle and the grayness and let you shine. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, no, I think that's great. And it's awesome how you all have been able to cultivate those relationships and be able to utilize the things that you're passionate about to help enhance the things that others are passionate about. Right, I think that's really cool. Right. That you mentioned that. And, you know, there was something else you mentioned, and I really wish I should have wrote a note down. You had a lot to say there, but it'll come back to me. But
I do that.
No, I think that's great. And I think, you know, I think as small business owners, whether you're a DJ or whatever, I think a lot of times we try to wear too many hats. And
yes,
being successful requires being successful at business. Let me put it that way. Being successful at business requires understanding that you can't be good at everything. You just cannot be good at everything. And if you want to have a sustainable business, and I don't want to go too far on this tangent, but I think it's important because of a service like what you offer to folks.
You're going right up my alley with what you're saying right there. So
you've got to really be thinking about, in budgeting, I need to budget my business to be able to afford to hire people to do the things that I'm not good at. And if I can't afford to do that, then I'm already putting myself in a bad way. So that's where budgeting becomes so important, right? Because if you're just flying by the seat of your pants and you're just, you know, whatever this, whatever that, whatever this, you're just in a hamster wheel, and you're just always going to be going around in a hamster wheel. But if I can sit down and I can say, okay, here's where I'm not good at. And you touched on that for me. To be honest with you, I'm not really good when it comes to the written word. As a matter of fact, my PowerPoints are probably, and slide decks or whatever people call them now, they're probably the most boringest thing in the world. But to be honest with you, I will tell you this, full disclosure, I usually just make them for a reference for me to know where I'm at, because my mind, I don't retain a whole lot, to be, just fully candid. This is something I've always struggled with. I don't retain a whole lot. And so having some reference there to look at and say, okay, I know where I need to be. I know where I'm at. And then I see where I'm going to be at next. It helps me keep my thoughts together. But I agree that still being able to create something that creates a little bit more engagement and a little bit more interest and a little bit more, I wonder what's coming next kind of a thing. I totally understand the value in that, totally do.
Yeah.
Yes. I know you did mention that you wanted to touch upon our conversation with Ronald earlier about the value.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so I think
because it was when you had Milk D on, it was during that show.
Yep.
When you guys were all talking about, it's your worth as a DJ. I'll admit right now, I disagreed with half of it when everybody was talking about it, because I think everybody missed one thing. What about the people that are hiring you? What are they thinking? Nobody touched on how can you gain that worth, through all that. Everybody's just saying, charge your worth, charge your worth. Well, how do you know what you're worth? And what I
that's
want
a good,
to touch on,
that's so powerful, man. That's so powerful.
I wanted to touch on it. I'm a club owner, and I've hired DJs, right, Milk D? The one thing I'm going to look at is a lot of DJs out there, they've been, especially in this digital age, YouTube and everything else, they're out there promoting online and doing all their stuff, and they're getting this big, huge following. A lot of them tend to forget when they're trying to get actual gigs out away from that, out in the clubs or the venues and stuff like that. One thing these venue owners are going to look at when you give them their social media is, where are your followers from? If you got a ton of followers in California, but you're trying to list and you're trying to get a gig, let's say here in Virginia Beach, but none of your followers are anybody local, how are you going to enhance that venue? How are you going to bring new butts into that venue?
Yeah.
How are you going to make that owner more money than his regulars already bring in? If all you're doing is catering to the regulars, how are you worth anything to that venue?
And that's where the branding does come into play.
There you go.
As far as, recognizing who your audience is, what it is you do bring to the table, what makes your unique show, of value, of worth, to that bar owner or the club owner. Yeah. And what is it that you're bringing, and to have that in a replicable style. This is going to be me all the time. Here I am. This is what I do. And I mean, of course, you can modify, you can adjust. But if you come to the table with this is what I have to offer, then there's value, and there's value right there. To where with my marketing, learning and the things that I'm understanding, I've learned from Mark Lack. Shorten the Gap is his program there, and I've invested some time and some money into learning from him. Again, that's more of that know, like, trust pyramid, or what is it, vacuum? This one, the
funnel.
filter funnel. That's the word, the funnel. Know, like, trust funnel. But it's also a matter of, there's social media, and you can have, again, the 1.5 million followers, whatever, thousands, whatever the reality of it is. Is there anybody that's clicking and buying from you? Is there anybody that's going to show up, down the block when you do get that club to hire you on? I'm finishing my thought. I have gone ahead and just put it to the fact that I'd rather be a really great big fish in my teeny pond of a couple of counties wide than to be a little minnow egg, in this Atlantic Ocean and Pacific Ocean of everybody. So become that big fish in your little pond, and then we can go ahead and bring it back out to the World Wide Web, on a different level.
Correct. Yeah, that's a good thing. I mean, and that's kind of what I'm leading into is a lot of DJs out there, you know, they just put their heads down. You know, they're out there playing music. Well, crowds ain't going to stay. They're just going to try to hit that next one to get that more energy. And that's where I was always mentioning about being an MC. You can't just be a DJ. You can't just be a KJ. You got to have some MC skills. And if you don't have MC skills, find an upbeat friend who's good on a mic that can talk up during the show. That's how you can bring that
keep
energy
the people,
up.
and you keep it there,
And
that
you
they're
keep
not
the
going
people
somewhere
there.
else. Yeah.
You know, one thing that I always prided myself when I was trying to get a new gig as a KJ or anything was, how can I bring in new people to the venue as a house DJ? First gig I ever got was I did it for free the first night. I said, hey, give me a chance. This guy had a DJ already. It was believe it or not, it was a billiards place with a small dance floor, but it was a big place, really huge. And it was like, next thing I know, he said the next day, I'm hired. You're going to do Friday and Saturdays. 3 weeks later, he wanted me Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And it's just, and what happened is he'd always have a good crowd up until about 9:30, 10 o'clock. Then everybody started leaving to hit all the bars and bar hop, you know. I wound up keeping it packed the first night, and everybody was calling their friends at all the other bars. Come on over here. Fun, fantastic, wonderful time, you know. And I started building that local following. So sometimes as a DJ, going out there thinking you're worth all this, don't approach that guy saying, well, I'm worth all this. No. Sometimes you got to show what you can do. Let them see how much you're worth, and then you arrange it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to get the local following if you're going to do out live events.
Yeah, no, I think that's a brilliant assessment of the situation, especially when it comes to DJing in you know, bars, clubs, any kind of public venue, we'll call it that.
Yeah.
And I think to both of your points, I think that when you know, when that's your goal, and so let's tie all of this together, because we have to kind of look at what Didi was talking about, which is, what is your goal? What do you want to accomplish? So if your goal is to be that local DJ in, you know, whether it's the hottest nightclub in town or whether it's just a nightclub in town or a bar or whatever the case may be.
Hole in the wall. I've done some hole in the walls and kept it packed out so much so that they were standing outside. Yep.
So no matter where the venue is, if that's your deal, then you understand that, as Didi mentioned earlier, that avatar is a local party goer that wants to come to that club. It's not everybody else on social media from Germany and Japan and California. If you live in Georgia or whatever the case may be, it's those local people, and connecting with them and getting them to see you and know you exist takes a very different path than all of this other stuff over here. So I think that's a brilliant point. That's
like
a brilliant
Didi
point.
said, one thing you got to do when you're going into being a DJ, and so many times we'll go into a place to have a few drinks or do karaoke, and the DJ's back there just like, kind of acting like they don't want to be there, you know, sometimes, because it might be real slow that night, no crowd, and they're just like, oh, it's regular like this. And I'm like, well, it's up to you. That's what this man's hiring you to do. Bring the energy, bring the fun, and that's going to bring the people. And that's what's going to determine your work. And to all these club owners, to all these bar owners, to these venues owners, you know, it's like, if you're not bringing it, even on the slowest nights, then what are you really worth? Probably not what you're thinking you're worth.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
That's a fair point. And to that point, in that conversation, I think that at least my approach, and first of all, Ron, I totally respect your points about disagreement and why you felt the way you feel that way. And I think in the context of this conversation, I have to 100% agree with you. And I think my topic or my point of the conversation in that initial conversation that we had was probably more so on the side of being a business owner and offering a service outside of, you know, being a local DJ, where your value, which I agree is based on the audience that you can attract, and the audience you can keep, and the audience you can build, and the money that they can spend. 100% agree with that. When it comes to doing a wedding, when it comes to doing a corporate event, a little bit of a different story, and I think that's kind of more where my mind goes a lot.
Yeah.
So
some of it, Dave, I got to ask a question: is it really? Because the how you get your worth there is word of mouth. Mostly when it comes to weddings, private parties, it's word of mouth. How good do you do that wedding that other person sitting there at this wedding as a guest came in, you know? That's where you get the chance to get more, right?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that for sure.
And that's how you build your worth as a private DJ.
Yep. Well, and to our conversation before we came online, kind of in the green room, you know, we both said kind of the same thing almost simultaneously. Right. I know a lot of the new corporate contracts that I've, picked up over the years, last couple of years, especially during COVID and having to convert to doing a lot of stuff virtually and stuff like that. I've said to people, hey, let me do something for you that's not going to cost you a dime. I will invest in my confidence in what I can bring to the table for you. Right. There's no financial investment on your behalf. And if you like what you see, then we can move forward together. If I don't hit the mark, then maybe we can talk about ways that I could still hit the mark. Maybe I just misunderstood what the mark was. Or Correct. If I'm not the right fit for what you're looking to do, then that's okay too. You haven't lost anything other than some time.
Right, man. And if he does hire you, he pays you for that free time before, if he's an honorable person, and that's just the way it is. That's how I would be.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the energy of Milk D is someone that I would recommend most DJs to go see is online. It's just that energy he brings. He just brings an energy that most DJs, and for his age and my age, it's crazy. It's hard to find that. Excuse me, but that's just the truth of the matter.
I think a large part of the difference between, just a service of a regular company and a business owner and bringing a service, with value to the table is the idea. And it's a paradox, it's a bit of a crossroads, because creative artists and DJs, we got ego. Oh, yeah. And, we like to be in that spotlight. There's got to be a good trade-off. There's got to be a good balance to recognize that your audience wants that spotlight. Be it a wedding, be it, again, just a regular club night on a Friday, or, birthday parties, Christmas, whatever other kind of parties, they want that spotlight. So, when we have been involved with the DJ Expos, we go see these guys and they're showing off, and that's what they're supposed to do. It's a DJ Expo. But when we go out to a club or, to an event or something, then they're supposed to be giving us the show. Then you got to get out of your ego, and recognize that I am here for them. And definitely Milk D does that. He did that for my fabulous 50th birthday party. He put in the comments about buying a club down here in Virginia Beach, and that he'd be our DJ for it. And that's definitely a consideration.
It's crossing our minds.
He's a fantastic kid. I mean, we met because he was just doing his little spins on the Instagram during the COVID, and I picked him up just by chance. I see this guy doing the old school 80s, hip hop, Lisa and the Cult Jam, and all of those guys, and I was like, that's my stuff, So I like and I respond and I react, and now we're interacting with each other, and it was just like we start talking. He's in Richmond, Virginia. I'm like, okay, dude. And then, not for nothing, DJ Milk D, I'm just going to go ahead and be real here. He was, kind of shying away from the whole DJ thing because, dude, I'm not making any money. I don't know what to do, blah, blah, blah. I went ahead and, I like to think that I can take a little bit of credit in being his cheerleader. I was 3 years cheerleader in my high school years. And that's my heart. That's my spirit. I want to cheer people on. I want to be that support system for people to know that you are special. You have a fantastic gift, but don't let that gift and that specialty get in the way of bringing a good show and letting these people be in the spotlight a little bit too. Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's a catch-22 because you got egos for creative artists.
Yeah, you're right about that.
We do what we do. We the best. Kind of a feeling. I can feel like that myself, but recognizing that when you bring in a show, it's to make the audience feel like something. Something's
There's
different
Naya.
about
She
them.
was up in the DJ Expo with us.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Nice.
Yes.
So Vince said he was talking about my shirt too. Okay. You know what, Vince? I've never thought about selling these shirts, but I guess if people were willing to buy a shirt with my name on it, I can find a way to make them marketable, right? I don't know. Thanks for asking about that, though.
David. Bromance.
Yep. I think so. I think we might have a little bromance going on here. I like this. I'll get me a Vince shirt, and he can have a David shirt, and then we'll be rock and rolling together. Oh, I love that.
Just friends underneath.
Yes, exactly. Just friends. Just friends.
He said he's just a friend.
There you go. Okay. Now we might be stepping into some little biz royalties at that point, right?
Yeah. Well, that's a
man.
little tribute to Biz, man. That's a little tribute to Biz. So.
Absolutely. Well, no, that's so powerful, talking about being there and rooting each other on. And I love how you talked about that with Milk, because there really are a lot of talented people out there that sometimes timing is just not on their side. And I think that was probably some of the challenges that he was dealing with. And so it's great to have somebody like yourself that was just, this is such the cool thing. I am, first of all, I'm not a big proponent of social media. I will go on record all the time of saying that. I'm not a big proponent of it. I think social media actually most of the time makes a lot of us more antisocial than makes us social. Sure. But this is an example of the exception to the rule. And I love that you all were able to create that relationship, and you were able to provide something to him that allowed him to maybe see a little bit more deeper inside of himself than he could originally see. And that's no knock on him. We all face that. A lot of times we're all our own critics, and we all think our own worst critics, I should say. And to have that perspective of somebody else who can say, look, man, you have a talent, you have an ability, don't give up on yourself. Even if it's just one more day, even if it's just one more minute, just keep doing it, because something good's going to come out of it. And I love that you were willing to do that.
I'm going to say this to you, David. You can't change 5 minutes ago. You can't change 10 minutes. You can't change a week ago. You can't change a year ago.
Yep.
But you can dictate where you go 5 minutes from now.
Yep.
From now. Yeah.
How are you feeling 5 minutes from now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. No, that's super powerful, man. That's if that's not having an abundance mindset, I don't know what is. And I love that. And anybody who's watched the show long enough knows that I'm all about positivity. I don't live in rainbows and unicorn world. I know life is not perfect all the time. But I do believe that life is going to hit you with positive and negative. You have the ability to react to it however you want to. If you know that going into it, then you have the ability to say, okay, before I react, what is the most positive way of me looking at this situation? What can I learn from this situation? How can I grow from this situation? And sometimes it's in ways you never even knew you had the ability to grow in. And I think if you can think of that, and again, this term of abundance mindset, I think if you can think of it from that standpoint, then it allows you to be a little bit, you get a little bit further than you thought you could, I think is the best way for me to say that.
Yeah, and coming back into, I'm sorry, one more second. Coming back into just the creative artists, we are a very sensitive lot, and sometimes we need somebody on the outside, somebody externally, looking in to your little world to say, hey, dude, you're not alone. You're not alone. You have so much more to give, so much more to create. Don't stop, like you're saying, David. And we tend to, nobody will ever see how wonderful I am, what creativity I have to offer. So I'm just going to go ahead and shut down my little hole. And, not to say that other people aren't sensitive. I know that the musicians and the dancers and creative people and the actual painting artists that I've known, there's a little extra emotion in there. And they just sometimes need a little pat on the back, a little kick in the pants, whichever they need at the time to keep them pushing. Keep them creating.
Well, that leads me to think about something that could probably be another full hour conversation that we don't have to have tonight, but just something to ponder over, and maybe we'll do in a future show, is I wonder if, because you mentioned it earlier, a lot of us that are creatives tend to have an ego. And sometimes I wonder if that ego is overcompensation for that fear of failure.
Sure.
You know?
Sure. Yeah.
Definitely. If you want to have that cue in the podcast, you're more than welcome to do me up any day. I could keep that one going for 12 hours. It'll probably be the most watched podcast in the world when we get through with that one.
Well, we might have to do that then, man, because I like this stuff, man. I think I don't think it's talked about enough in our industry, and so I like that we're able to have these types of conversations, and I appreciate the followers and the people that watch and listen to the podcast and supporting that and believing in what we're talking about, because I always tell people that the most important piece of equipment you'll ever have are your head and your heart. Nothing else matters if you don't have those in place. I've said that for as long as anybody will listen to me say it, and I will continue to say that.
Well, there's two DJs I'm going to give a shout out to. They're two little protege, and Greggie C's helped them both about energy, and maybe a lot of us old school DJs need to kind of check them out. One, I think, she's 13 or 14 now, DJ Sophie?
Sophia,
and,
DJ Sophia.
And DJ Young Fresh Prince.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're the epitome of just doing it for the love of it.
Yeah.
And bringing in that energy. And a lot of us never got to start out DJing as young as they did. You know, they've been blessed with that. But the way they've taken it and has expanded it and enhanced it. And I'll be honest with you, DJ Sophie branding it, I mean, the girl's got it going for a little girl like that, but she's just badass.
That's amazing.
Young Prince, just his energy and level. And I got to wear his badge at the DJ Expo all weekend because friggin' Greggie C forgot one with my name and gave me his to wear to get in.
So everybody thought you were young Fresh Prince the whole time.
I wasn't trying to be him by a long shot, but it was an honor to me. You know, he's a wonderful young man. He
really is. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Listening on here, if you want to go online and look him up, go for it, because I'll tell you what. If you're a DJ and you're losing sight of what you doing this for, check out those two young kids. I guarantee you'll, all right, you know, they'll bring you up. They'll boost you up with the energy.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. You make me think of the saying. I'm so big on sayings that obviously I have millions of them in my head. And you make me think of this saying that, never do it for the income, do it for the outcome. And I think, wow, like what you just said
there,
really hits home with that, man.
Very good.
Never. Wow, I got like goosebumps thinking about that. Like, never do it for the income, do it for the outcome. Yes, and that's exactly what you said right there. I love that.
If you do it for the outcome, that income's going to be there.
Yeah,
it will follow. Don't worry about the income. That's a motto of my own company. I'm always looking to hire heroes. If you're looking to make money, I don't need you.
Yeah,
because you won't make money in my business.
Yep.
With that attitude.
Wow, I love it. Well, I want to thank you all both for being on tonight, man. This has been a great conversation. I think Greg's going to regret the fact that he couldn't be on here, but I know that he had some things going on that he couldn't help. So we understand that, and that's okay. I know he's filled in plenty of times for me when I wasn't able to be on. So
we missed you, Greg.
I've already sent him a few texts, so he's like he's feeling it now. Okay. He's wishing he'd been on.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm absolutely sure of that. Didi, tell us how our viewers, how our listeners, tell us how they can find out more about GoMezmerize.
Okay, well, you're welcome to get into my emailing list. That'd be didi.g.hayes, which is HAZE, at GoMezmerize.com, and just go ahead and hit me up with an email, and we can talk about branding, and we can talk about just about any kind of maybe documenting type stuff you'd like written up. We can discuss that through emails. I have 2 different Instagram things going on right now, and the one that is on here is probably not the better one for me. My better Instagram is going to be Didi_. I'm trying to remember it. I'm sorry, Didi Gomez _2020.
Okay.
But yeah, either way, I mean, or find me on my YouTube page. I do have a GoMezmerize YouTube page here, and again, this is still in its infancy, but I know that I can help for the creative artists to focus more on their creativity without all of this extra noise and things that they have to take care of, and creating something for that connection, or for that promoter, or for this person in the media, or that person. So I can go ahead and I can do those support services along with building up who you are in your own little genuine space and creating your brand for you to continue on toward your goals.
Yeah. I love that.
Definitely, I want to throw a shout out to Autumn there and Nia Mercedes. Mercedes actually was at the DJ Expo this last summer with us. They're out in the chat area there. They're beautiful, wonderful young ladies that are just making it in life, and we feel like, you know, they bring a lot of energy to us, and we hope that we bring a lot of energy to them to keep moving forward in life also.
That's awesome. Thank you for doing that. Thank you. I'm sure they appreciate that, and I know I do. Well, I want to thank the both of you again for being on the show with us tonight. I'm so used to saying us, but you know what I mean. Being on the show tonight, and just having this good, candid conversation. And Ron, again, I really respect the fact that you brought up that previous episode. I think it's great to have conversations about every aspect of this industry and how people can grow. That's what this is all about. That's what the show from day one was all about, was offering true, how can we help you grow? How can we help you be better and get closer to those goals you want to get at? So I appreciate you bringing that up for us.
Appreciate you having us. Yes,
all right. Well, thanks again, guys.
Thank you. Thank you guys for all that showed up here to watch us tonight too.
We appreciate that. So with that being said, this concludes another amazing episode of In the Queue podcast with Greg Curran and David Hanscom. Thank you for joining us. Please don't forget to like our podcast and subscribe to get notifications of future episodes. Follow us on social media at In the Queue Podcast. And if you'd like to be a guest on our show, or if you have any ideas for show topics in the future, please email us at hello@inthequeuepodcast.com. We look forward to seeing you at the next show. And most importantly, happy holidays to everybody. Have a great end of your year, and we'll see you again real soon.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays to everybody. Milk D, keep smiling and keep yerping.
Yerp!